Hey y'all, welcome to the Reality or Not podcast with your boy DJ Reality and cousin Brian Clancy, head of Nothing New Under the Sun. Hey Brian, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm blessed and impressed with the life that God gave me. What's going on with you, man?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Good energy. Always trying to start out on the positive. Then towards the end of the day, I'll be tired, but I'm doing all right.
Hey, man, you know what? It's like I always wondered, like if God knew everything, then why we doing it?
Mm-hmm,
Like why we playing in the soap opera? And the Matrix taught me, it's
mm-hmm,
not it's not it's not that he knows. It's the why did you do it and how you come back from that, right? So
mm-hmm.
like there had to be shoot. Like I tell people all the time in the Bible. And I ain't mean to get biblical real quick, but in the Bible they got Job. They got Job. They got it had to be a Judas, right? It had to be a Judas, or else Jesus Jesus wouldn't have died for all our sins, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like in the Bible, God knew stuff was gonna happen. It's just how did you respond from it, right? So like, and I say that to say like, why worry about the negatives when, hey, like our grandma,
Mm-hmm.
our grandma Beatrice McMillan, she said. She told I said, "Hey, grandma, how you doing?" She said, "I'm doing all right. My knee hurt, but you know what? At least I got a knee to hurt." You know what I'm saying? So like, I used to be like, "Dang, that's
Yeah.
that's wild." You know what
Can
I'm
you
saying?
imagine? Can you just imagine like not having no knees?
Right, right, right. And it put stuff in like
In perspective, yeah.
in perspective because you can complain about anything, but
Mhm.
like the fact that you got a knee and it worked. You know what I'm saying?
Hey
And,
man, that's a good topic, man. Being optimistic versus being pessimistic. And I know for me, and like I said, this wasn't even the topic, but we go into it because this is one of the things that I abide by, is that and you just brought up the point of being or finding the positive things and focus on that, then focusing on the negative things, because a lot of times we may have 10, 20, 30, say 30% of negative things that's going on with us, but we don't pay attention to that strong 60, 70, 80% that we got going, and a lot of people it could be something as simple as kids' health, um, having a house over your head, having, good good health in general, and it's just always interesting that we focus on, oh well, I lost this, or I lost $50, or I got to pay this bill, and it was like, well, nah, like you said, you got a bill to pay. I mean, I complain about my mortgage all the time, but hell, I got a mortgage. I didn't have a mortgage 5 years. Well, I got my house 5 years ago, so I mean, I didn't. I was renting, and before that, I couldn't even consider the possibility of having a house. So even put myself in a position to get one, it was great in itself. So sometimes it's just and you hear people complain about those things over and over and over, and I tell people all the time, like, hey, look, don't tell me about the same problem that you had 2 weeks ago, or that you had a month ago, or that you had 3 months ago. Unless it's something financial, like you can figure it. I mean, you may not be able to find the money, but you should be able to figure out how to solve the problem, within due time. So
right, and everything you talk about is the reason. Like I told you, I used to hate talking to people in Muskegon because it used to be that Debbie Downer shit. And
mm-hmm.
like ladies in general, like I'm gonna just say people because I was going to concentrate on ladies. But
Say some
you know,
ladies. Don't say when you say when
you
you
know,
when you
I
say
want
all
them to
people find ways to get
to
within your
apply it
argument.
to,
Yeah,
yeah,
because sometimes people think like you're talking to them, and it's like, well, no, I'm talking as a whole, and like even something as simple as it was a weird ass debate that was going on with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark last week, as far as if Caitlin intentionally fouled her and what should have been the repercussions and stuff like that. And this woman had posted about it, and I was like, well, Caitlin said it was a foul. Um, Angel said it was a foul. It's over with. Let's move on to the next subject. And then the woman was kind of like, well, you I wish our black men would root for us sometimes. And I'm like, what? Like, what? I was like, is this social justice for the WNBA? And the fact that in that scenario, both of them said that, hey, look, they made the right call. Let's move on to the next thing instead of making a big brouhaha about it. It was somebody taking something that was not their pain and making it theirs, even though the person that actually went through it, didn't hold it in high regard.
So the hard part with that is I understand that whole situation, right? The hard part was that is it got racial, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, and that's one of the reasons why they was like, yo, it was a foul, let's move on. But when they started calling her names that was racially insensitive, now I can see saying, hey, look, that we have no room for that in our game, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But
I mean, but it wasn't Caitlyn that be careful.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the teams or anything like that. It was more so like outside presence within the crowd and stuff like that, and online and stuff that was.
Now, see, I'll stand up for Angel Reese on that too, because like I do feel like because the WNBA and like I got some WNBA attire because I want to support them because they have supported not only George Floyd and the stuff, but they mothers and they women that have always like I think about like all the civil rights people and stuff and the women that have been sticking up. It's like the WNBA has been super sensitive to all the stuff that like especially black men have gone through. And I'm like, yo, I rock with them. And even Breonna Taylor. You know what I'm saying? So like I know they stands and like I like when you instantly bring racism into a file, I think that's dumb. And
it was a hard foul,
Yeah,
essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, and I looked at different angles because at one angle it looked kind of bad, but then it was kind of like they had just they didn't show the full clip, but Angel had just got into it with one of her teammates, before that play, so it was kind of like not necessarily retaliation, but it was just like don't give up the easy layup.
Yeah, and I mean it's basketball, people. Like we don't have like that wasn't a social issue until somebody called her out her name or called her, that angry black woman. And like I'm gonna stick up for women, especially women of my culture, because I got a mom, I got a daughter, I got an aunt. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like I'm the first to tell like we can get into it. It's like you gonna sit your butt down, like because. It's wild out here, especially when people taking stuff out of context. It was a foul. Yeah. They called it. I didn't even think it was a flagrant one or nothing, but like.
Yeah, I mean, they raised it to the flagrant, and then, but the thing sometimes with us, I mean, we do need to, not to say we don't need to fight for everything, but in that scenario, look at it for what it is, and not that. I mean, like I said, within that scenario, it wasn't as if Caitlyn was like, let me file this black bitch or something like that, or this black nigger and nothing like that. It was just a foul to not give up the easy shot, right?
Easy shot. And to send a message. It was to send a message like
it was definitely send a message as well,
And
but you gotta be careful of like what you're fighting for, because sometimes, I mean, we have things that was crazy, like you mentioned the George Floyd's and all of these other situations that happened to us within the past 5, 10, 20, 50 years, like, and sometimes I feel like we don't, we focus, we'll focus on something like Kanye, what I'm saying? But we won't focus on like, what was the, how did all of these cases play out, from all of these brutal police killings and stuff like that. It's
so
like,
that plays directly into the subject matter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because what happened is it was elevated outside to another box, right? Mm-hmm. It was elevated from it being about basketball and a hard foul to it being about racism, and then it being about us not sticking up for somebody in racism. Then it elevated to somebody's wife ain't black, so then and I think when it gets pushed, when that message get pushed, it only elevates that fracture. It only elevates that, like, we took an issue that wasn't an issue and elevated it to where it's something that salacious people talk about. You know what I'm saying? And like,
or even making it bigger. And as you mentioned with the Ryan, I mean, you mentioned about with Ryan Clark and RG3. It's like,
yeah,
like, and don't get me wrong. I mean, you can have a white wife, you can have whatever wife you want, but you just gotta, I don't know, man. Just read the room in that sense where even I mean RG3 did come off kind of like dickish, saying you see the hate right there, like, and it wasn't, you know, honestly, if Angel hates Caitlyn or Caitlyn hates Angel, I mean, who can, like, it's a sport, right? So
Yeah.
I don't think like Angel, even if she has a disdain for Caitlyn or Caitlyn has disdain for Angel, is more so, at least from on the outside looking in, it's more competitive than anything. It's not as if, oh, I'm gonna kill that white bitch whenever I get on the court or anything like that.
Well,
It's
see,
just
they making it a culture thing, right? So, like
uh
when it was Isaiah against Larry Bird, they made it a culture thing, right? But then
mm-hmm.
when it was Isaiah against Jordan, it's just a basketball thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, let's make it a basketball thing, and let's make it these cats really don't like each other, so they play hard against each other. Because I respect the game, right? I respect the game, and I like that, especially when you like, yo, I'm gonna take your head off in a sport where you can shoot them out. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
like, let's keep it there and keep it like what I do like, and I'm gonna take it back to the topic that we was talking about right now.
Mm-hmm.
Angel Reese and what was her teammate down there, and she rapped. She's at LSU. She going back to school another year because she was making so much money with that NLA deal.
Okay, she won a championship with it, right?
Yeah, Flo. Is it Flo something?
I can't think
But
of. Mm-hmm.
what I like about them young ladies is they take the hate that they given or that or that piece where America just like
Mm-hmm.
pick at them, and they've actually made money off of it, right? It's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
hey little love it, I'm still on top, and so like, hey, like you see my name in the mentions. This how many mentions I get now. I got that views. I got them views. So
Mm-hmm.
pay me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
And
you got to monetize whether it's hate or love. I mean,
yeah,
just same thing with was it Woody Page just said the other day. He was like, because he retired from Around the Horn, but he said, thank you all, even the haters too. It's just like, if you ain't got no haters, man, what are you doing? Like, I mean, you should. I mean, not to say that hate is when you get on these types of platforms, especially when you had Angel and Caitlyn going at it. What was that 3 years ago in the
yeah,
national championship? It was a build up to it because Caitlyn was over here killing everybody. I want to say out of nowhere, but I mean, no one expected Iowa to get that far. Caitlyn was literally leading them, and then you had like LSU that was the powerhouse team. And then building up to that, and Caitlyn doing the
can't see me. The year before when they beat her, she did
mhm.
the. You can't see me.
Yeah. So it's stuff like I like that build up, you know what I'm saying? But then I don't like the part of it that after that, Angel said, I was getting you
Hate
call it hate
mail.
messages and
Yeah,
and all that and talking about killing her and stuff. And it was like, I mean, that's a tough thing to deal with. Now, I'll say this one thing: I do like the fact that they're looking into it more, or they're looking into it like with all the racial things that was being said. But sometimes I feel like this is sometimes with the difference between women's and the men's game is that men has been, I remember one time with what's dude for Maxwell, like he had just had a stillborn baby and somebody said something about his baby, whatever, when he went into the stands and went after him. You
that
know what I'm
was
saying?
Vernon Maxwell.
Yep, Vernon Maxwell. Yeah. I think he
Yeah,
got suspended 5 or 10. I can't remember, but he went into the stands, and but he had just had a stillborn baby, and they were talking about the stillborn baby, like one of the fans was talking about it. So
yeah.
it's kind of like, and then shoot, the malice at the palace. You know, I feel like there was some racial tones to that. Even though Ron Artest was, kind of being an ass, by laying on that table, but at the same time, I felt like, you know, you don't just throw a cup of beer at me. I don't care if you don't like me or not. You know,
Yeah,
like,
that's assault, right?
Yeah, like
That's assault. When you spit or you throw something at me or throw some water at me, that's assault. And I don't need the law to get it. And see that's the thing too. Like I don't need the law. I got you right here, nigga. We can.
Yeah, we can fight. Let's go. Like you threw a cup of like. It don't even have to be that. Like I mean, you mentioned spit. Like spit is probably the worst. That's probably the only thing that I'll just be like, all right, fella, let's get involved in fisticuffs here. It's like, let's get the fight going. Because you don't spit on me. I mean, but I'm saying like doing anything that crazy. I feel like men have caught the most of that. You know, women are starting to feel a little bit, from this racial thing. But I don't see too many people like going at. I wouldn't expect it going at any of the WNBA players like after they just had a baby, something like that, and saying, well, that's why your baby's a preemie, or that's why your baby ain't got no daddy, or something like that, and and then causing
that's
problems.
the hard part. That's the hard part because like you start talking about I can take you talking about me, but when you start talking about my family, there's sometimes it's that flip mode. You know what I'm saying? That like it's some key words that you can. It's trigger words. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That you just go like I'll never forget this. Dennis, we was refereeing basketball, but his daughter played. Your niece played soccer for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they had called some stupid stuff, and Dennis. That dude he said, "Man, I went ape shit crazy." Yeah, I went ape shit. They was looking at me like ape shit crazy. I was going ape shit crazy. I jumped on their car.
It was the trigger.
It was a trigger. You treated daughter wrong. You get up into his face, and he feels like it's 3 against 1. He said, "I went gorilla."
Dude, but listen, that's essentially crime, right? Like they said, like most crimes that people are in prison for are for like less than like it's like seconds of something that they did that impacted the rest of their life for them to be in prison for long periods of time. And it's crazy. It's just because that trigger got you. It's like, well, it's you and me. I shoot you, you shoot me. One of you got to die. One of us have to die. It's like they made that decision within like seconds.
Let's take it back to the previous episode, Boondocks, that nigga moment, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the crazy part because like as a black man, that we are always seconds away from death. Like if it just be from getting pulled over, or if it being going with the wrong people at the wrong time, it seems like, and that's my problem with the hood and happen to be in the hood, because what happens is you get in situations where it's your family, it's a friend, then stuff escalates, and then next thing you know,
now you fighting them for 2 weeks, and somebody has to die. Like, because maybe I'm not going to shoot anybody or anything like that, but I'm at a point now, like, so you brought it up, the Boondocks episode, right? And it was the white dude, and the white dude, he bumped into the white dude, and the white dude was like, wait a minute, I'm white, and then just walked off. And then the dude was mad at him, like that. He was, man, come back, let's fight. You know what I'm saying? But it's little moments like that I see. I'm like, wait a minute, we're not the same. Why am I arguing with you? Why am I, And I find like that within conversations, within fights, or anything like that. Like, I just don't have the energy or the time to argue or fight with somebody on something that's not worth it. Now, if you said family, it's always on site, but you still got to be able to. Because you don't want to mess around and get shot over somebody saying your mama.
I mean, that's the hard part, right? Because like we in a fight for resources, right? We in a fight for, especially when they make it scattered, so they only pick a few of you guys to win, right? You get those few that's picked to that they're like, oh shoot, and then the rest of you gonna fight over these minute resources, and so the day where like. Remember we were talking about my shoes. Dude stuff. I just got my brand new shoes. I had never paid that much money for it in my life. I felt like all the way, and he stepped on the back of my shoe, right? Yeah. And like I was like, yo, this is enough for a nigga moment. And like I
like, especially like if it's like some white on white or something, or something that's just. Yeah. It leaves a mark.
A mark brand new, and this is Yeah. So
Mhm.
it's crazy that like so we got a bet and then like I said like something as simple as that. Like I remember in junior high when George Churchwell, the dude was picking with him, and George Churchwell he knocked him out,
Mhm.
jammed his nose up into his brain, and dude was in a coma for like 3 days, and they
Mhm.
was acting like they was gonna charge him with like
Intent or something.
yeah
Mhm.
like and I was like yo it's just a regular fight,
Mhm.
but like we gotta bat 100 all the time, and like when we do make those absent judgments, that tap be drastic because they want to teach us a lesson. Like yo, you can't do that. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So like that's the hard part of what I have to explain to my son. I was like, look, man, like when you go into the movies, you can't be more than 3 people deep because if you're more than 3 people deep, it's a gang of y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they got eyes all on you and stuff like that.
Whether
So
you
like
like it or not.
yeah, yeah. So
Right.
y'all just separate in 2 groups of 3, if it's
Mhm.
6 of y'all, you know what I'm saying? And then merge after the counter, right?
Mhm.
Or and then even if you do that, you got to be mindful of who's looking at you and who's you could be trouble.
Yep.
Uh, when I say this because like Shante, you grew up in the same place I did. We grew up, went to the same schools. How did you get out of that box of niggas ain't shit? You know what I'm saying?
I say one thing I learned. I remember I forgot this dude's name, but I remember in the seventh grade, I walked into a classroom and dude had it was all 100% assholish of me. We had went, and I can't remember his name, but we had went to. I mean, me and you had went to elementary, preschool, all that stuff with this dude in seventh grade, and I walked in and I backslapped him for no reason, and then we got to. I mean, like he was just sitting at his desk chilling. Like I said, we had kind of like I said, we had went to Nelson, we went to Craig, all that stuff together. But I backslapped him for no reason. And then he got up, then we about to scrap. And we both got kicked out. And then I thought about it. I was like, why not? Like like not that I'm this Socrates type of nigga, but I was like, I just literally just did something dumb as fuck. And then now, and mind you, this this is before we had before we had internet. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't as if being home was fun. So I was like, man, like this is whack. You know what I'm saying? So then I've always tried to like steer clear of the scraps. It was just like it didn't makes like if you get into it, you ain't got no choice. I mean that's what it is, but it just never really. I mean, you messing up your clothes, you messing up your face. I remember I ain't gonna say her name, but I remember one time I think it was like eighth or ninth grade, and it might have actually been in Muskegon, but this chick that we both went to school with, she got the scrapping, and then the other chick ripped her shirt and her titty popped out, and it was just like titties out, just scrapping and shit, and then hair, like they pulling each other hair, and I was like, oh, and I'm thinking like, damn, like I'm glad I never went this far, with a scrap. Usually it's just kind of like, a couple hits thrown, and then it's usually people breaking in between it or whatever. But it was just interesting when I was like, no, I don't.
But
Go
you got to dive into it, right? Because like you said, there was times where you could get in those moments,
mm-hmm.
but I think, and this superpower that I developed because I started seeing stuff before it happened, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, yo, I know where this is going. I'm getting out of here now because if I stay here, I might be one of the. Remember the riot at the high school with the skinheads?
Oh, you talking about Bunker? What was
No,
that?
at
That
the
was.
high school with the skinheads. Remember, it was a point where
I remember. I remember. I know what you're talking about because I remember we got into it with the with
yeah,
that
that was
side
the
of
one
town
from the
at Bunker,
dance,
but
right?
then it was the riot. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
a skin. Yeah, I remember that.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Now,
Mm-hmm.
when the skinheads came, and like so, our school was really mixed. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was probably 60% white, 40% other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but so swimmers used to cut their hair all the time. So it was a dude
Yeah,
named
so they
Andrew
can.
that played the bass.
Mm-hmm.
And like
mm-hmm.
I'm like, yo, dude, you gotta get out of here. Cause because remember they ran into the statue or something and they was dragging them out of there. And like, they were just, people was having their moments, but like, oh, you white, you bald headed white. Because I think they had put some notes on people windshields at one point in time. And then like they came in there. But like when you start, like I developed a spidey sense to be like, look, man, I know I can look in here and see that these ninjas in here, they're already mad. So it ain't no sense in me sitting up here, like you said the other day. It's like I ain't going to no place that they got to pat me down for a gun when there's other places I can go, right?
Yep.
That's that spidey sense tingling.
Yeah.
So you developed this, and you don't even know you developed it. But like it's a thing where you like, oh shoot, these like, I remember.
But that's just looking at the bigger picture, though. It's like what do you have to win? And this is exactly the topic. It's like thinking bigger than what things actually are. And I mean, we could do this with crime. We could do this with education. We could do this within careers. Because I mean, as I mentioned with the crime, like most of the crimes are literally for like seconds of something that you did. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, do I want to do that? Do I not want to do that? Because I mean, honestly, that what was that dude that I can't think of his name, but he ended up shooting the cop after the issue. The thing that happened it was about a month ago, maybe a couple of weeks ago, where he shot the cop based off of no justice for his. Was it for his daughter or for his child? Yeah, it was for his child, definitely. I can't remember if it's a boy or a girl, but like while that dude was in court, they had all the cops around him. They had them in like beating his ass and all that stuff, and it's like, damn, it's like
he walked out of that court like, because I think he said in 24 hours he was in jail for shooting that cop. Got his son. Yeah.
So it's things like that. It's like,
but right, I think it's things that's worth it. You know what I'm saying? I think it's things that could be worth it. Like one of the reasons why I never
the attention, he's going to be protected, in some manner. But it's just like, understand what you're fighting for. If you're going to do that, then I think sometimes we end up not knowing what we're fighting for, whether it's for money or whether it's for, and I always feel like it's either money or women. Like honestly, I mean, I feel like those are the two driving forces that and I feel like they're blended together.
Let's just call it resources, because it could be supply if you in the other game, you know what I'm saying, and like it's a supply. It's those resources that we're talking about. But what I was gonna say, sometimes I feel like it's worth it, and like I know one of my trigger moments was like I remember first time I ever went to Sanford, Florida, right, which is a little bit north of Orlando. I thought I seen what was the dude that killed the kid, shot the kid, George
that dude
Zimmerman. George Zimmerman.
Yeah.
So something clicked in me. Like I'm like, yo, I'm about to get this dude. And I ain't even that guy. But I was ready to take it for the culture, and I got people depending on me. But it was just like something clicked in my mind. And I was like, yo, is that him? And man, I went and like it was God's will. It was God's will that like I went around there and I couldn't really see. I didn't see him. And I was like, yo, I'm gonna stay away from Sanford because this a trigger. You know what I'm saying? Like when I see Trayvon, I see my son, right? I seen so many other people that look like me. So like I was like, yo, I was really about to lose it because I was gonna get him, dude. And if he probably got to be packing now, he probably was gonna have to shoot me.
Oh yeah, he was gonna murder you.
Because it was over. That was my gorilla moment.
He was gonna murder you. He was gonna have some shooters. I'm pretty sure that dude is heavily or has heavy surveillance around him at this point.
But see, that's why I was like, he in plain sight. He in plain sight. Like it was like he in plain sight. Like he cool. Like he free. You know what I'm saying? Like yeah.
I mean, but that's happening. I mean, what's that dude? The rapper, the Mexican dude that be saying nigga all the time.
6ix9ine.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's just like that nigga was. I think he got jumped in LA. It was a LA Fitness or a Lifetime Fitness or something like that. Yeah, I mean, you got to think. I mean, it's not like, I mean, it's interesting to see things, from a TV level, and then like, I mean, these people are regular people living lives. They just in more of secluded spaces to make sure that they're protected and got people around them. But I mean, they regular people like we are. They just
Here's
did
the
fucked up
thing,
shit,
though.
So
Here's the thing. Like you said, you did some. You never know what you done did to somebody that make it click. You know what I'm saying? And like you never know. Like especially rapper 6ix9ine dude, Stashion 6ix9ine or whatever. Right? When you play,
no, they different. Except, you talking about Triple X Stashion dead? He's
no,
gone.
6ix9ine. No, what's his name?
Yeah, that's 6ix9ine, but Extacion, he died because of drugs.
Oh yeah, well they robbed
6ix9ine
him.
is the dude from New York or whatever that was going.
Yeah, with the clown hair, right? Now what he does is he goes out and provokes people. Like he was in Chicago in the hood,
hood, like with dudes' girlfriends and shit like that. And I'm
yeah. It's a price to pay, and some people willing. Like to me, if you talking that talk, like you really gonna do something, and you don't want to do something. Like I was at the basketball court today. I got into it with this dude before because he called me a bitch.
Yeah, we can't be calling each other bitches.
Like,
it's like, what's the name brought that up? What's it? Draymond. Because that's essentially what they said. Poole called him or whatever. He like when he punched him in the locker or in the practice and shit. Like,
when he punched him,
You don't call me no bitch. Like you can not fuck with me. You know what I'm saying? Be like, man, I hate playing with that dude. But we can't be no bitches. I was called a bitch one time, and I was like with a chick, and I'm like, yo, all right, I gotta go. I was like, she was like, and then she said, what she said? She said, I said something because we were talking about like, our relationship status and all that stuff, and she had told me what the game plan was. She told me, well, we only just messing around. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, perfect. So then, like, we was about to mess around at one time, and then she was just like, what is this? And I was like, you told me what it was already up front. She was like, oh, you ain't got to be a bitch about it. And I was like, oh, all right, well, this is what I'm going to do. And it was like maybe 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. At that point in time, shit, I was ready to go home. Shit, I ain't doing that with it. I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I was like, I'm about to go. She was like, well, why you got to go? I was like, well, either I could stay and be a bitch or I could leave and be a man. That was literally how it wasn't no, I tried to say it the cool way. That was literally verbatim what I said. I was like, I ain't about to stay up here, like after you didn't call me a bitch. We could fight. Like we could literally cause fisticuffs with the word bitch. And like sometimes people like that's a word I'm sensitive to. I'll throw the word around, but I'm not gonna call you. I'm gonna be like, Brian, you bitch, nigga. Like I ain't gonna say nothing like that ever. Like that's just like some whole shit. But I'll joke around. Like I joke around with Eddie and all that shit. But it ain't never know, man. This nigga a real bitch right here. Where did that come from?
Man, because and it's crazy that she started off on negotiations with that, right? Because you basically negotiating where you stand, right?
Yeah. Oh, she was like, look, and that was a trigger for me. As soon as she said it, I'm like, all right, man. And, I had to like collect my thoughts at the same time because I said not being old, but shit, it's like we talking. We had already messed around a little bit, but it's like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. And then now it's like 4 or 5. I'm like, I'm sleepy and shit. Like, why are we still talking? But yeah, after she said that shit, I was like, oh, all right, well, I'm just gonna leave. Like I'm gonna be out.
Yeah, and see, I know when my thing was, I'm on the court, and I'm like, who you talking to? You talking to me? Like that. So then I'm automatically, but then my homeboys that's there, they're like, yo, he the type to call the police. And I'm like, no, he want to talk big and bad, but a lot of these people, these new school people, they want to be able to say whatever they want to say and not have no consequences.
Nah, don't
I'm like, no, it's consequences to this, bro.
Yeah.
So I threw the ball at him, and then he was like, man, you ain't even playing the game. I was like, you know what? He was like, man, you taking this shit too personal. I was like, you know what? I did take it personal. You
look, nigga, you can call me any name. Honestly, it doesn't even necessarily have to be bitch. It could be like, I'm trying to asshole, whatever, anything with strong intent behind it. I'm not gonna take a liking up for it. You know, it's like, man, fuck you. Like, not that I'm gonna scrap over it, but at the same time, I probably draw back and forth with you. But I'm not, about to, beat your ass or anything like that. I mean, shit. I don't know if you remember when White Man Can't Jump. My man was like, okay, y'all niggas is cheating. I'm about to go to my glove box.
Y'all stay right here. I'm about to go to my. I'll be right.
Nigga went to the glove box and cleared the whole court. But
right.
But I don't think
it can be that serious. Like we out here playing, and now you trying to disrespect somebody. Mm-hmm. And here's the other part to that. Like, you got to have respect to disrespect somebody. So if I know you're a real bitch, I can just laugh at you, right? But when when we playing heated and you talking shit and you gonna call me a bitch, then it's on. You know what I'm saying? Like it's on. Like, and I'm from old school. When we swap it up, you gonna take these hands, and we can be cool after that.
Yeah, and move on.
but if you gonna call the police and have them come arrest me because you running your mouth, I think that's.
We can't call the police after. Like, I feel like sometimes now people are more flagrant than anything, but they hide behind the keys and they hide behind, the law. It's like, man, you got to be careful of how you talk to people in general. Like, I'm always going to have, if I don't even like somebody, I'm still going to have a mutual respect to not be around them type of stuff, or keep my space in between them, just because. So it's never going to be, I'm going to go up there and antagonize them and be like, man, you a bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just not going to, I don't, because they already got problems or animosity towards you. You got some animosity towards them. It's a nigga moment. It's literally y'all about to scrap.
How do you read the room, though, man? How do you read the room? What did you develop in your body to say, hey, look, like, I can see some stuff moving before it even moves. So, like, let me that's the gift that you have, right? Because you've been able to stay out of the fray of the nigga moments, right? Mm-hmm. So how do you read the room and be like, yo, this ain't going the way, like, this, I can see this going left. I can see this going, because I'm a keen believer in I leave before it get, like, even having arguments with women, right? Mm-hmm. It become a point where we're not hearing each other. So, like, I'm done talking. You know what I'm saying?
What do we talk? I mean, if it ain't about the kids, it ain't about my money, then, I mean, we can we can solve the problem. We ain't got to yell at each other about it.
But it just be a time where like you so elevated, they so elevated, you're not gonna hear it. Nobody's gonna win. So it's just like, you know what?
I don't do it though. I'm saying, like, I'm not arguing with nobody. I don't see a reason. I just feel like within discussions, I had to learn how to agree to disagree versus like trying to impression my opinion or my fact or however I believe it on other people. It's like, you get to the point in time in life, it's either you, not necessarily say you fuck with my thought process, but to say that you're willing to listen. Like, I think when we get to certain ages, it's either we're going to be stubborn about it and just have our own way of doing things, or we're going to be able to have our way of doing things, but yet learning how to adapt. Now,
But what I'm trying to get people to do is listen to listen to the last podcast, because what you're talking about right now is protecting your
peace. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so explain that with that in mind, because we talked about that before. We talked about that. I think that was last week, right?
Yep.
We talked about that before. And that's a big part of it, right? That's a big part of it. How did you learn how to protect your peace? How did you learn how?
I think the bottom line is, like, how did I learn that, or why do I do it? I think is I have more to lose than to gain. Understanding who you are as a person, like, and it's not even like tangible things. It could be, if I'm with a woman and I'm like, well, it's like picking your battles, right? Is this something worth fighting for, or is this something that, you can give in on it. Like, well, you could probably give in on this, and not to say that you could use that as leverage for the next thing, but just being able to work with people versus like standing on 10 and not adapting or being a part of the compromise. I mean, one thing in life, man, compromising, like you don't necessarily have to compromise your principles, but I mean, give in a little bit. Like,
never compromise your principles. Never compromise your principles. So how do you stay at a 6? How do you stay? Because I see how you move now, and you don't ever really get up to it. I haven't seen you get up to a 10, even when like
it ain't worth it. Bro, we dying at 10s. Like, dude, I'm hearing stories about people in a late 30s having heart attacks and all that stuff. It's not worth your energy to put yourself into those positions. So instead of reacting, at least for me, like listening, like taking it in, like let people talk and capture what they're saying versus like trying to understand people's pain. Where like, say if you're arguing with somebody, you're arguing with them or you're debating or however you want to call it, but you're talking to someone, understand where they're coming from, or try to understand where they're coming from versus where you're coming from, because it'll make the argument or that debate a lot easier. I've learned in the past, like it's easier for me to apologize than it is for me to sit up here and go back and forth with you. And when I say apologize, don't just apologize to to just be giving in, but you can have a way of doing things, and the way that you do things is like apologizing for how that made you feel, not apologizing for what you did, because when you did it, you wanted to do it, but saying, hey, look, I'm sorry that this made you feel this way, and I hope that we can still keep a relationship, a friendship, or whatever, and then moving on from there, rather than not talking to people for years, you know what I'm saying, and just for no reason, just be petty shit. Like I said, realizing that the bigger picture is the people that you hang around with, or the people that that's around you, it gets smaller and smaller. It's just a smaller circle. That's just what life is. So embracing those relationships and like saying, well, shoot, my mom could get on my nerves, but shit, I only got one of those. So shit, call her tomorrow morning and hear her get on my nerves again. I'd rather she be here to get on my nerves, period, than to not be here at all.
Yeah. But Sean, I think you mixing like three things up, and three things up. And I really wish you would expand upon it, like, because like the one you say like saying you sorry for how you feel, right? I get that a lot, because if I said like I don't give a damn what they doing, I'm not doing that, right? Yeah. And it hurts somebody's feelings. Yeah. I wasn't thinking about your feelings. I wasn't thinking about. I wasn't really even talking to you. You know what I'm saying?
No, but look in that scenario. Like, I mean, just the empathy or the sympathy of, like, say for instance, like you don't want somebody to be hurt, right? Even though they were hurt from the scenario of your actions or whatever, you don't want nobody to be hurt from it. So in that scenario, right, I apologize for the way that you felt or the hurt that you encountered.
The way that you took it. You have empathy enough to say, hey, look, I'm sorry. That was not the empathy is the part that one of the parts that I wanted to have empathy when you speaking, to have to understand that, right? So I have developed that. I was like, yo, I'm sorry. I did not think that you would take it that way. And it was not my intent to make you feel that way, right? I like, shoot, you post something on Facebook, other people getting their feelings, and I'm like, oh, that had nothing to do with you, but so I didn't have that. But then the second part about that, you said another thing in there that I want you to dive in. And this is really exciting, because like when I talk to people and they be like, yo, how do you understand these concepts? It's because you have to develop them over time. Arguing, debating, and talking. What's the difference between those three things?
Arguing is just talking out loud and not really getting anything accomplished. You could be saying some good stuff, but most likely you're speaking from opinion because you're speaking off of emotions. Talking. So
you said in an argument you ain't speaking facts? Yeah.
Sometimes you may not be. I mean, sometimes, going back and forth in between with somebody,
Mm-hmm.
you're essentially, depends on the severity of the argument, but you're essentially trying to outprove or disprove what they're saying with everything that you're saying. And sometimes that could get tricky because you may not, they can be right. You know what I'm saying? Like you can both, that's the funny part about arguing, right? Like you both could be right, but it's just how you're right. Like if you, like me and you arguing about, you know, if 2 plus 2 is 4, like it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? You come up with all of this other ways to say, well, 2 plus 2 isn't always 4. I'm like, nah, nigga, 2 plus 2 is 4. So in that scenario, I'm not going to sit there and argue with you. I'll just say, oh well, agree to disagree. Like you believe it, you believe what it is. I'll keep it moving.
Hey,
But
that's real diplomatic too. We agree to disagree, right?
yeah,
But so I think argument is when it's more passion than it is communication, right?
definitely, yeah.
So I look at our argument is like you getting way more passionate about this stuff than discussing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we didn't went past like the and that's why I was like, yo, when you said that, like arguing, I'm done arguing with people. I don't want to argue with people.
I
That
can't
ain't
do
even
it.
my style, right? Like I
It's
take
not worth your
things,
energy.
yeah, and it's like it's like why do you get upset? Like because a lot of times people get upset when they're arguing. So debating, what's the difference between debating and talking and arguing?
Now, debating is more so like you using your facts that you have to be able to say, okay, this is what. Honestly, most of the time, I have to say most people don't debate. They're either debating, they're either arguing or talking. And I say that as in, if I'm debating with you, like a debate could be something as simple as, um, you know, um, was Drake's career impacted since going at it with Kendrick? And it's like, well, yeah, you can see directly, but there's not a, I mean, you can see numbers being down and all that stuff. And I can show you, like, okay, this is why it was impacted by that. But then you can say, well, from the Drake side, you can say, well, Drake didn't lose no spins, Drake didn't da da da. But I'm like, well, I'm hearing it on the radio. I'm hearing more Kendrick than Drake, And so that's a debate, right?
Yeah,
But then like just talking, it's like, well, how do you feel about the Drake beef, and then or Drake Kendrick beef? And it's like, well, these are my sentiments, da da da. This is how I feel. Not like us did, blah blah blah. And then you be like, okay, well, kind of feel the same. Probably maybe more so was impacted more by Euphoria, but maybe it was meet the gram. Like that's a conversation. So having a conversation or just talking in general is always more positive, and you could get so much from people by just having a conversation
okay,
versus or
all right,
talking versus just art. Because arguing, if me and you are arguing, I honestly am not trying to hear anything that you're saying because we're arguing a different point. It's just like we're arguing. I mean, I'll say for the sake of the topic that I just brought up, but you saying Kendrick is better than Drake, and I'm like Drake is better than Kendrick, and it's like there's no middle ground to be able to meet and say, well, this is why this person is. This is what shows that this person is better than that. That's just a fruitless argument of trying to compare one with the other. So.
okay. So yeah, I break mine down a little bit, like because again, like when we in this box and like and what I've learned, I read this book, talking to people with power, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like a lot of times, when you talking to somebody, you mirror them, right? So like a debate can turn into, well, a debate is a we have opposing views and we trying to make sure that each other understands our opposing views and
Mm-hmm.
kind of get a consensus, right?
Yeah.
An argument is the opposing views have gotten more passionate than about what it truly is, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then a conversation is where we find out where we have areas of common beliefs that we both can agree on, and and the conversation is a piece where we are learning and we are growing without opposing positions. But then I'm gonna throw a fourth one in there: interrogation. Women like to do interrogations, right?
Interrogations are terrible.
Yeah, but
I
when
don't
you
like it because I don't like people asking me questions, but they don't give me. the same. They want to give you, and that's they want to give you less information. I don't know if it's like if you the information cop or whatever, but it just feels like something like have a conversation to I need to find because I feel like information is key, right? Information. If you have the information, you can figure like it makes life easier. If you don't have the information, then you're just kind of trying to figure it out, right? So, say for you say the interrogation thing, it's like, well, hey, like as an example, you say, hey, dating, right? You say, hey, can we do this? I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good example. Like, if we do something on Monday and then we do it on the next Monday and then we don't do it on that following Monday. Damn, this is a terrible example. I'm trying to think of a simple way of thinking about it. Like interrogation is like, well, I guess that could be in the scenario. It's like, well, the third Monday, it's like, well, why didn't we do that this Monday? It was like, well, we did the past too.
Let's take it back.
It's like, well, why are you asking me why? Like, why are you asking me why did we not do this? Like, we could have done it if you say, hey, let's do this following Monday. But go ahead.
Yeah, let's take it back. So interrogation is menace to society. I'm in the room. Hey, how did you get when you know something and you ask me questions that you know and you trying to fit what you know to my narrative, right? Mm-hmm. And so like you said, you done fucked up because you keep asking me the questions, so you said it was about 8:00. Motherfucker, why are we talking about it? You know what I'm saying? Like
that was a straight up interrogation.
If you knew what time it was, then what we talking about? Stop asking me questions. If you're trying to get to a point by asking me questions that you already know, just ask me what you want to know.
But so here's the thing, right? Sometimes people get lost in interrogations versus conversations, and it's like you're asking me questions to like you Inspector Gadget type of shit versus like asking me questions that actually want to learn about me. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like sometimes it's I feel sometimes some women are more on a protective side as far as giving information versus like understanding everything that you got going on. So it's like, well, I'm damn near open book. You ask me a question, hey, what you doing? I'm like, hey, I'm doing this, da da da, and keep it moving. Ask you a question, it's like, well, I don't know yet, but you want me to ask you to do something. Like you want me to ask you, hey, let's go out and blah, blah, blah. Whereas you could be like, hey, look, I don't have anything up. You want to, do a dinner or blah, blah, blah. But sometimes it's like, well, why didn't you ask me? I said I wasn't doing it. I was like, I can't read your mind. I can't, I'm not a mind reader. I just, I say if I want something, if I need a question answered, I'm going to ask you directly. And then we keep it moving. I'm never going to insinuate or expect you to tell me what I want to hear. And I feel like sometimes that's the
craziness, right? Because if I ask you what you're doing this weekend and you say, well, I got to do this and do that and do that. Now I understand that you got a busy weekend and I ain't trying to fit in there. I'll just holler at you later. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But if you're telling me, well, I didn't ask because you already told me you had stuff to do. You know what I'm saying? Like what's the point? So like a lot of times I take all the information and what I did notice too, Sean, is that all my conversations are they run eternity, right? I can have a conversation with you that I had a conversation with you in 6th grade, right? Yeah. I can have a conversation with you about, hey, remember I'm bad, and we did the video and we was like doing that, like,
jumping around doing the WAP,
yeah, question the jelly bean, you know what I'm saying? So when people have conversations and they compartmentalize those conversations, like, oh, we really were talking about that. But you said something about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you told me you don't like people automatically adding to your wanting to be a part of your what you planning on doing. Like, you told me your mama called you and was like, you was telling her that you was planning on going somewhere, and then she's like, oh, we can go and do this and do that, right? Now, if you tell me you don't like when your mama did it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Why? But people be weird in the sense that they say, oh, I don't. Because, I'll tell you, I mean, not that I'm not a people person. but I do prefer, as an example, to not be doing more things out than I would at home or anything like that. So I'm more of a private type of person. But I feel like sometimes people like automatically use the introverted definition for them not saying what they want to do. It's like they know that they want to go out. They know that they want to blah blah blah. But it's like for me, I'm not. I was out, not to say intimidated, but I'm okay with, instead of asking somebody out, staying at home. I'm cool with that. But if somebody said, hey, you want to do da da da, I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. But
that's the only way I'm really getting out. Because
yeah.
like I'm not gonna sit out here because I got enough planning to do in my day for me to sit up here and plan me to have some fun. I might be like, shoot, I got a SeaWorld pass. I'm gonna just go to SeaWorld today. I might do something like that. Mm-hmm. But if you expecting me to come out and or do something out, you got to run it by me, or else I'm not just, hey, you want to go such.
Yeah. I mean, and mind you too, as you get older, you have way more responsibility. So you have more that you can put in places of things that you're not doing. Like, honestly, bro, like yesterday.
That's not the case with everybody, Sean.
But listen, I was outside yesterday pulling up, what do you call it, bamboos out of the backyard. I did that for maybe about 30 minutes or an hour. But I was like, oh, I got a little bit of time in between. Let me go out there and do it. But if I didn't do it, then the bamboo would be like damn near above my fence type of. I'm just saying, like, we all have the capacity to do stuff, but if you want to do something, just go ahead and say it and use your words. I feel like a lot of people just are afraid to use their words to say, hey, I want to do this. Hey, I would like to see you and all that stuff. Versus,
but I mean, so if you say that, and then when I ask you what you got going on, you should know that I'm asking what you got on because I'm taking the initiative, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the things that I'll be like, okay, whatever, because I don't want to take the. It's not that. It's not. I do want to take the initiative, but like you said, as I get grown, as I get older, a lot of my time is not free. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. A lot of my time is scheduled. Boom, boom, boom. Did this because you got goals on your board, right?
Yeah,
you got goals on your board, and so you can delineate and sometimes it take a delineate for you to get the concept of what all you want to do, but you got a lot of stuff going on, and some people, and what I learned, other people. They don't have. I got a lot of the world that I want to change before I die, right? So I don't,
I'm always trying to do. Like I told you, I got to figure out how to make this $500,000 a year by 2027. I'm like, and I want to make more. We talked about this, but no, like I always have something that I'm trying to prepare myself for. So, and don't get me wrong, I don't mind putting people in my space to do it, but you're not going to disrupt it.
But but you're protecting your peace by only the people that need that. I mean, that deserve time.
Small circle, small.
You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't got nothing against chicken heads, but if you a chicken head and you just talking about going out and like smoking a hookah or whatever, that ain't me. You know what I'm saying? Like I got the shit to do with my time. So I really, but if you want to go out and do karaoke, and I don't do karaoke much, but when I do. Is I'm bad or you're all I need.
That's funny, me too.
Yeah.
It's funny too. I got some gayish songs on there. It's like I got my little Beyonce song that I always do, but I definitely do I'm bad.
What's Beyonce song? Not dance for you, right?
Church Girl. I do church. That's one of my favorite songs. Whatever. So I got tons of videos just singing Church Girl and shit. But it'd be like that song, or then it'd be like Can You Stand the Rain and shit. It's always something from back then. Nigga, one time I tried to do Untitled, How Does It Feel? D'Angelo. Nigga, that was the worst performance I've ever done in life ever. Cause that song is 6 minutes long and all he's doing is just ad-libbing. So it's not just like you go, cause I can't sing, but I'm doing the song because people like the song. But nigga, I got to maybe about 4 minutes of the song, I was like, man, just cut it, DJ. It's like we've been going too long because it's a part in there where it's just a breakdown where he's just humming and shit. I'm like, all right, this is pointless.
Well, I'm glad you ain't do Maxwell. Fortunate, because that I was like, woo, you know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah,
I've tried it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, but it was but you know, but that song is a little bit different because it's literally him consistently singing. So you can kind of like sing along with it and then get the crowd to sing along with it with you. But like that D'Angelo song, no one knows the words to that song. Like because no one knows.
He didn't even title it.
Oh man, so like trying to sing, man, dog, that song was so much torture. That was the first time like I did a song. That was probably like 2003, 2004, somewhere around there. I did it might have been like 2006, 2007. I did a song. I was like, damn, this just ain't working. It's almost like as a DJ playing a song, and I don't know if you really believe in it, and don't nobody else believe in it, but you like that's what that karaoke song. And everybody's just looking like, when is he going? Because it wasn't no major like bellowing until the end of the song. I didn't even make it to it. I was like, man, just stop this song, man. I'm done.